Chucky, wanna play?
Stop the prime time, bitch!
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Come play with us, Daddy.
All right, welcome back to Fright Night Flicks. You're here with Dan and Darren.
What's up, guys?
What's up, everybody? Today we are reviewing the new supernatural horror vampire, what is it, behemoth called Sinners?
Just step aside and let me on in now.
Why you need him to do that? Admit to it.
Admit to what?
That you dead.
Dude, this thing's hot in the streets, dude. This thing is everywhere.
What I'll say is it would be amazing to hear anybody didn't like this movie.
Dude, I haven't seen a horror movie with this good reviews in a long time. Maybe ever.
Hey, guys, you may hear someone in this room that did not like this movie.
Well, we'll get there.
All right, before we jump in, special thanks to all our members. All our memberships are on YouTube now, so we got rid of Patreon. It's all on YouTube. So if you want extra episodes, we do a monthly bonus podcast, early access to episodes, Discord, and more. Check out our YouTube memberships.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you. And thanks to our existing members. Thank you.
Thank you all. It's very much appreciated. All right, so let's get into Sinners, okay? So I'm going to give you a little breakdown, and then we'll get into our initial impressions. Sinners is directed by Ryan Coogler and stars Michael B. Jordan.
Twice. Times two.
Two roles. He plays twins, which we respect.
We are, if you don't know, we're identical twins, so we can relate to this movie. Maybe give you a unique perspective.
I didn't like him playing twins.
Well, will you wait? We'll get there. My God.
All right. So if you have no idea what this movie is about, it's okay. So here's the synopsis. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back.
This is the slowest reading ever. Do you not like that they're twins because you think they should have cast real identical twins? You think this is like a twin thing where like they're taking roles from real twins?
Exactly. I think twins need to play twins.
There's not much representation of twins in Hollywood anymore.
They had the movie Twins with Danny DeVito and Arnold. Come on.
I actually think more on the lines of like, we don't need twins. I get it. It's confusing. I think twins are in general confusing.
We'll talk about it, but twins complicated this movie a lot.
How many times I've been called the wrong name throughout my life by people who knew me is the same problem with this movie where I get mixed up on who's who. You know what I'm saying?
Like going over it again because I went through reviews and like just the whole script again. I didn't realize some things that had happened in the movie because they're twins, and I thought it was the same person.
Understandable.
Okay, so Rotten Tomatoes, dude, get ready. Okay, sit down because these are some staggering numbers. Critics a 98, audience a 97.
Dude, insane numbers.
Insane in the membrane.
Well, so what we're going to do if we didn't explain it, we're just going to go over our initial impressions, and then we're going to go walk through the whole movie.
Yeah, so we'll try not to give spoilers away for about like a few minutes, but we'll let you know. We'll try to let you know before we do. So do you want to start with your initial or you want me to jump in?
No, I'll just start because let's save yours for a second.
Okay.
So my initial, going into this, I'm the one who recommended this to Dan. Dan didn't really know what this was about. I had seen so much stuff on TikTok. Like there's so many things making fun of the vampires about how they're trying to get in. Like they're trying to get into the barn, which we'll talk about later. That I'm like, dude, I got to watch this movie. There's so much hype about it. So I went into this with very high expectations. Saying that, I'll say some things I liked about this movie. I liked the way the vampires looked in it. I don't think they were too goofy looking. I thought they were like kind of understated. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like sometimes it was just like their red eyes, or sometimes you just notice like their claws coming out. I thought they looked really cool.
There wasn't a ton of vampire stuff in the movie. Like
that's a different deal, Dan.
I know.
That's a different deal.
I'm just saying, like, because at one point you see him fly. That was okay. He kind of floated up, but that was like the only time.
Dude, the float was sick though. I thought that was really cool.
Was it?
I liked it where you're talking about when, we can't give it away.
Yeah. Well, it's in the breakdown. It's in the breakdown.
There was a float that happened. So the music, the vampires I thought were cool. You're right. Maybe not enough of them. Okay. There was a lot of story in this and little vampires. And I thought there was some corniness with the vampire fights, or maybe I should say like a letdown. I wasn't, and we'll go dive into it. I was a little let down with the fights. I will say though, I thought like the music and the theatrics of the whole thing, I don't know, the cinematography, it was a very good movie. Like as far as like let me get to it. I'm looking at this from like a movie standpoint. I think it was a very well made movie. I was like immersed into it. Was it a good horror movie is a different question.
That is true.
So I could see why I got such good reviews because I thought the music was great in it. I was like, sometimes I was like, felt like I was in a trance. I was like locked in certain scenes. But from a horror movie perspective, I feel like there was a lot left out.
Are you turning on the movie, or I feel like you're hedging my side now?
Well, no. So overall, okay, I could go through the whole thing. Overall,
I mean, this is just an initial impression. Good heavens, dude. Like, just tell me your initial impressions of the movie.
I had bullet points. My initial impressions, I was let down. It did not live up to the hype for me. But I did enjoy, I thought it was a good movie. Not necessarily like one of my favorite horror movies. And I'll tell you right now, like, here's my test of it. I don't really have a desire to rewatch this.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
Would you like me to say anything else? The twins also was confusing.
Well, I mean, okay. All right. Let me just get into it. I went in completely blind. Like, I saw some previews and I did not even think it was a horror movie, which looking back on, my initial impression there was accurate because it really wasn't that much of a horror movie. Like, most of the movie is really like about music, race relations, and going down on chicks.
That was a big part, and I don't know why.
For some
Not that I
reason,
don't support it.
I'm going to make a statement. There is a writer who's trying to send a message to her man, and she did it within this movie because there's a lot of talk about going down on girls. And I got to say, I don't think in this time period that was much of a thing. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I can't speak on it. I wasn't around during that time period. I also think the way in which it happened was absolutely uncalled for. She had been dancing. Like, it wasn't a good scenario to make that move. Plus, that's not your first move. Like, whatever. Anyways, I don't want to get into
we'll talk about it when we get
I don't want
there
to get
later.
into loving styles.
Yeah. So this movie is like, to me, it's like very much like an onion. You know what I mean? It has the layers. It's super layered where every scene I'm watching, there's so much symbolism and deeper meaning that it made it to where I was like, it was hard to watch just the base level of the movie. You know what I mean?
Dude, I caught myself in this movie like I'm trying to figure it out, and at some point I'm like, dude, I got to stop because I don't know what all this means, and I just want to enjoy it. I did get a little bit of that where I was just like kind of confused on why things are happening. But that is also a good thing about this movie is it gets wacky, which I do like. There's some weird dancing going on in music.
This movie does have potential. There's a possibility I could watch this a few times and end up liking it more. Possibly. That's not where I'm at right now. And I'll tell you throughout it, but I'm just saying that because there is a lot of stuff in the movie, and we're going to go through the whole breakdown of the movie, and then at the end, we're going to go to the deeper meaning stuff.
That is one of those things, though, about this movie that does make it good is that you do leave the theater thinking, like, what did this all mean? Why did this happen this way? What happened here? You know, you kind of start rethinking everything. But yeah.
So like you kind of mentioned, well, let's talk about a couple of good things. The setting of the movie, it's in like Mississippi. They did a great job. Like the filming looked great. I mean, for what I'm no expert, but it looked good to me. The music.
Hey, wait, can we just say, if you're newer to this channel, we're not film experts. We're two idiots that like watching horror movies.
Yeah. The music though, in this movie, you mentioned it. The music is great. Like they do a really good job with it. And it is like immersive at times. So I loved the music in it. Love the setting. The acting was really good. I mean, they have some really good actors in this movie too.
Yep.
Overall though, like again, I look at it through a horror movie lens, and maybe that's on me for thinking this was going to be a horror movie. Like once you told me to go see it, it wasn't scary at all to me. They're really, and the vampires, if this is the movie, like a big circle, the vampire is like a little wedge in the circle.
I mean, they're there. It's just you're not seeing much vampire stuff happening. It's
feel
more about vampire dancing and vampire music.
Yeah, and also I just have to say I don't like Michael B. Jordan playing the twins like at all. It has like an uncanny feel to it. Like when they're interacting in scenes, I feel like it just doesn't, there's something off with it because they're not in the same scene. And I can tell like I'm watching it too close, you know?
Yeah, I thought he did a good job trying to act as twins. I don't like anything. I wish there wasn't twins in the movie because the whole time I'm sitting here trying to remember who's who, and I have to really work to remember. And sometimes I just didn't.
Well, it's really hard to tell, but I just think the way it's filmed with him in the same scenes, there's like an uncanny feel to it.
I agree.
And when it's the same actor in the same scene. So I don't know. I don't think it was even needed.
Here's the funny thing. If this wasn't, I can't help it because I knew it was rated 99. Like the vampire dancing, I don't know that I would have actually even liked that. But because everyone loves this movie, I'm like, oh, that is kind of cool and interesting. But the reality is, would we make fun of that normally?
Well, they don't even know what we're talking about.
There's a part where, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it when they're dancing outside.
Dude, there's a lot of dancing. There's the club or the Juke dancing.
Juke
is totally fine. I get it. Although there's one scene, I don't know. It gets so out there.
But I do like the out there-ness of it. It's just, yeah, we got to break.
We got to just get into this. Okay, we're from here on. It's spoiler alerted. Let's just get in the movie.
Let's dive in.
All right. So this all starts 1932, Clarksdale, Mississippi, and this is like racism, segregation, still going strong. So I threw in a little note here. a little
Thank
trivia.
you for this.
So in 1964, it wasn't until 1964 in the Civil Rights Act where they outlawed segregations in businesses, theaters, restaurants. So this is in the 30s. That's in the 60s. So, I mean, I'm just saying this stuff's strong in this movie, right?
And I will say the unique thing is I don't know that I've ever seen a vampire movie like centered around this time period, or especially going after like vampires going after black people in general. It's what it seemed like it was doing. Don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to stand on that.
I'm not either. I just think.
So the film starts out explaining that, so music is like extremely powerful, right? It can conjure spirits from the past and the future. So that's like how they started with like a little narration. And then also this music can attract evil.
Right. So why? I get it. I get the idea. We can't say anything because we're going to get into it because it didn't really totally make sense on how this all
mean,
worked.
but that's like a lot of, music is powerful in general. So that's not, that's like a thing that's real.
And I would say when you watch it, you feel the power because you almost feel it when they're showing you that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the Juke Club.
In the Juke, yes. All right. So we meet our main character who's Sammy. He's the son of a preacher. And I think, did he work in a cotton field?
I think so, yeah. He started out working.
Yeah, so he's like a hardworking kid, good kid. He's very likable, a good actor. Enjoyed his presence in the scene. But his dad is basically the preacher of the town, and this is back in the day. So, his dad's like kind of pushing him away from the music side, warning him of it.
Well, it's that whole thing, like playing the devil's music, right? Sinners.
Yeah, that's true. But we do learn Sammy was recently gifted a guitar by his twin cousins, Smoke and Stack.
Boom. The main characters, two Michael B's.
So this is the two Michael B. Jordans, and I'll give you a little background. So apparently they're both in World War I. I missed some of this during the movie, but apparently they're World War I vets.
There's a lot thrown at you in this movie.
Yeah, and they're returning. So they had gone to Chicago. They left town, went to Chicago. Now, the backstory there is they apparently stole money from, I think, two different gangs to kind of set each gang up to think they did it to each other.
That was implied.
Yeah. And then
or outright said.
Yeah. Then they came back to town where they're from. So they purchased a sawmill from a racist landowner named Hogwood. And this is where they're starting the Juke joint. So they went to Chicago. The movie really starts where they've returned to town. They bought the sawmill and they're trying to start up this new dance club or Juke joint.
Yeah. And dude, it happens really quick. We're talking like we're watching the day of it all happening. Did you mention the intro scene is actually the ending? Right?
Yeah, I didn't mention that, but
that also happens. But I only say that because they show you with the ending and then they flash a day back. So we know this all happens within a day.
Let's put it this way. Sammy is going to be bloody, scraped up, but alive.
Yeah.
So
so we're trying to figure out like, whoa, what happened here?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. A little more backstory on Smoke and Stack because there's some ladies in their lives. All right. So Smoke has an estranged wife named Annie, who's a cook. I think she cooks for the club or something, whatever, it doesn't matter. She also has a strong belief in the cult.
Okay, so before we dive into this, so you're the way you're doing this outline, you're not going to go through each piece. You're just kind of summarizing the beforehand stuff.
Well, yeah, there's some stuff that comes out throughout as we go through, but I'm like giving the character backstories.
Okay.
And then we'll go scenes, you know.
I was going to say, because the large portion of this movie is gathering people for the party. That's
Yeah,
a big portion of the movie.
I would say 3/4 of this whole movie is getting ready for the party.
Which I do like the lead up, and I was down for it. It's just when the payoff wasn't necessarily there for me.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't want to. We'll stay to the end for my full review. But okay, so the first thing, so Annie, who's Smoke's girl.
Yeah.
Smoke's girl. Okay, even saying that, I'm like, which one was Smoke?
I don't
One had a
know.
blue hat, one had a red. Or
But I don't even know which one's which. Like their personalities, I guess, were different-ish, but not enough
Smoke-
for me to recognize.
To me, Smoke was more like business oriented. He kind of ran the show. Stack was more kind of wild. That was like my feel of it.
Sure.
It was close. So the first thing, I'm going to be honest. I saw Annie. I thought, and we talked about this, I thought it was Smoke's mom because she's a bigger lady.
Yeah, no hate on the big girls, but she looked a little older than him, but that could be totally off, and sorry to the actress. I'm not trying to blow smoke. Get it?
Stupid.
But I actually thought it was their mom because it was a little confusing at first. But when he's hitting it from the back, I was no longer confused.
It was pretty clear at that point they were together. But it was a choice. It was like, oh, that's interesting. He's with a bigger lady. You don't normally see that in these
well, you're
types.
acting like she was huge. She wasn't that big.
She's a little.
She was thick.
I'm not. Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
You act like it was like whatever. We're not even. Anyways, they apparently had a child together that they lost at some point. I don't remember hearing about what happened, but
but they don't. That's the thing with this movie, which is I'm fine with. They don't spell everything out. They just kind of show you like a baby was lost and.
Yeah, I don't need to know any more about that.
No, that's cool. I'm
So
done.
she practices hoodoo. Are you familiar with it?
No, but you're gonna tell me.
Yeah, I thought hoodoo was misspelling voodoo, and that's just my own ignorance here. So apparently, hoodoo is an African American spiritual tradition that combines Christianity with African American folk magic.
All right.
Didn't know that was a thing, but it makes sense now.
Yeah, because when I was watching it, I did think like it was voodoo, but it did seem different than voodoo-ish stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I was confused, but that's what it is. So now that was Smoke. So Stack has an ex-girlfriend named Mary, and they tell a little of the story. Apparently they like left together somewhere, and then he left her in that place saying he was going to return.
Yeah, I don't even remember that. But we're gonna go to the backstory, or maybe now's the time where Stack and Smoke were raised by Mary's mom.
Oh, I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, they correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what happened. They were raised by Mary's mom, and because something had happened to their dad was evil or something. I don't even know how that worked. The dad. Do you remember the dad
They
stuff?
killed the dad.
Yeah, I don't want to give away something with that. I can't remember what happened to mom. Anyways, I believe they were raised by Mary's mother, and then Stack and Mary had like a relationship.
Yeah, so at one point he leaves her. She is now married to a white man, but that doesn't really matter in this movie.
It doesn't matter at all. And it seemed like Stack said he's the one who set that up because I think so. What happened is because Stax is black, she is white. Well, 1/8 black.
I think it's 1/8.
Yeah. And so they couldn't be together at this time, right? That was the idea, or else like there'd be trouble, like a black man and a white woman, right?
Okay, I guess I actually didn't even think about it, but I guess that's true. That makes a lot of sense.
You're so woke, bro.
That makes a lot of sense. I actually did. I thought he just left her because he was doing stuff with his brother.
No, he said it in the movie.
Okay. All right. So that's their backstory. Now let's jump back into the movie. The twins, they go and they pick up their cousin Sammy and decide to go around and recruit people for the joint. So, but they end up kind of splitting off. One twin is with Sammy to recruit, and then the other one goes to get supplies.
Right.
So one twin breaks off and gets supplies. And at that local supply shop, that's where we meet a couple characters that are going to come to the club, and the Chinese shopkeepers, Grace and Bo.
Yeah, essentially we're meeting the team that's going to be together at the end of this.
Yeah, it's like the Expendables, but for a juke party.
Yeah, that's right.
So at the supply party, the Chinese shopkeepers they're going to supply the party. They're going to do signs and different things like that. So at this time, this is where we learn that these dudes are kind of gangsters. So I don't know if I made that clear that they robbed gangsters, but they kind of are gangsters at the same time.
Yeah, you kind of get the feel like they're not like great people. It seems like they've done some bad things, maybe some sins, one might say.
Well, yeah, I mean they robbed gangsters, but somebody tries to steal from his cart and he shoots 2 people.
Yeah, no hesitation.
Yeah, just like
but they're not totally bad though, because then he doesn't kill them, and then he gives money to the Chinese shopkeeper to fix them up. So you see, there's like this duality.
Yes. All right. So that's where I guess that's Stack doing that. So Smoke ends up taking Sammy, and they start getting the performers. And this is
I
where
think you have that backwards. I think Smoke was the one getting the stuff. Stacks was the one with Sammy.
That's probably true.
Okay, it doesn't matter. It's okay.
All right. So this is where we meet like the main characters that are going to be in the movie. So there's Delta Slim. He was a pianist, also a town drunk.
Yeah.
He drinks a lot. Also, I think they bribe him with Irish beer, which is interesting because the vampire who we'll meet in a little bit is Irish as well. It's like, again, that's one of those things. Is there more to this whole thing?
Well, and the reason Irish beer plays a role is because that's what we find out later is that they stole from 2 different gangs, one being Irish, I forget what the other one was, and they were playing them against each other, but that's why they had Irish beer. They stole from the Irish gang. Okay. I guess.
Yeah. All right. We meet the singer, Perline, who her and Sammy end up hitting it off later. We'll talk about that when we get there.
She is married, though. Again, it's important to know.
Oh, and
this guy doesn't even know what happened in the movie.
I don't even remember. I was so angry about certain parts. Anyways, then there's Cornbread, and they meet him in the cotton field, and he's hired to do security. He's going to be the doorman of the movie.
Right. So just to clear it up, so at this point in the movie, I'm watching, and I'm into it because it's like we're building up for this party, a la a Dusk Till Dawn situation. That's the things we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I have it in here. It's kind of, you can't just use my lines and throw them in.
A la Dusk Till Dawn.
I have it in a much better part for that.
Well, we can do it again.
Oh my gosh, this guy. So I do at this point though. It is a good build up. The characters are interesting. It's like I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I thought this part was really good. It was very long, but it was good.
Okay, so now we know the twins, Sammy, they're all gathering people for the party, doing that stuff. But meanwhile, there's an Irish immigrant named Ramek who is fleeing the Choctaw vampire hunters.
Right. Well, we don't know he's a vampire yet.
We don't, but he is. So he ends up taking shelter with a married couple who happen to be Clansmen. They're like cousins or something of that dude the twins bought the building from.
Right.
So
and you will see that, like Dan said, the guy's a vampire. One thing you do see, and I forgot to mention, the vampires are very manipulative, very good at manipulating people. And especially in this movie, they use it a lot. So
yeah, I'd say vampires are kind of like that.
I mean, these guys are try-hard vampires, though.
Sure. So the Choctaw try to warn the couple. The man's not who he seems, but they don't even listen to him at all. So as soon as they leave, Ramek turns the couple into vampires, and now they're part of his squad.
Yeah, which I thought the way they did it was cool looking too. I don't know, it's typical vampire. The girl walks in, the guy's getting his neck's all jacked up, and then boom, he's back to life as a vampire.
Yeah, there was no real fight or anything. He just turned them quick.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's kind of hard. I found like this movie hard to see. It was very dark.
Was it?
I don't know. I thought it was. But the funny thing too is the Indians that came, they left, and you never see or hear from them again. It was just like a little side thing. Just like, hey, yeah, they were chasing. The sun was going down. They're like, all right, well, we give up.
Well, again, I'm like, is this some type of symbolism or something weird? Like Indians chasing this Irish guy? I don't know. It just is random.
Yeah.
So, like, why is it an Irish vampire? I don't know.
Native Americans, by the way.
There you go. Sorry. All right. So let's get to the Juke opening night. This is where the movie starts to turn up a little bit. So the club's filled with all the town folk. They're all black because it's a for us by us situation.
FUBU.
Yeah, FUBU. I liked it. So it's all the townsfolk. So the only one who's not black is Mary, who's Smoke's ex. So I was right. It was Smoke up there. You're the one that was
Mary
wrong.
is not Smoke's ex. It's Stack's.
Is it Stax? Whatever. Okay.
Her and, well, unless I'm totally flipped around, because her and Stax kind of have a thing going on later.
Is that Stax?
Yeah, Smoke's the one who runs the show.
Oh, dude, the twins
Do you
are
have them
so
all?
hard.
Do you have them totally backwards in this?
Well, no, the beginning's right. Whatever I said earlier, but whatever. So Mary's the only one who's there, but she's like part of the family, so she's totally accepted.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
They all know Mary.
Yeah, we learned that the twins are already like underwater in this whole situation. Like they've already spent too much money, and being that their clientele is black people from the community, there's not really a ton of money coming in at this point in time.
Well, yeah, because what we find out is like some of the black people only get paid in like wooden coins. They don't get real money. It must have been how that was at the time.
Or they called them notes or something.
Yeah, so it's like, so they were taking that, but it's not as good as real money, apparently. I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable in this at all.
Yeah. So either way, it's like they're in trouble a little bit financially already
Right.
as soon as this place opens.
Sure.
So, but overall though, the place is pretty lit. We got good music, dancing, drinks are flowing, and then Sammy takes the stage and it turns up a notch.
Dude, it gets weird, man. This gets gnarly.
Yeah, and he can sing. He's got good music. So Sammy starts singing, playing music. Everyone's having a good time, and things start getting a little weird.
Dude, I gotta say though, I do love this part because it gets so. I feel like, again, this is where I feel like you're in a trance. Like you're just like, what is going? Like, what am I even watching? Like, what? But I'm like totally immersed into it because all of a sudden, like different people are playing music from different time periods, and because that's the whole point, is they said throughout history, right? There's singers that are so good that it like awakens the spirit or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. His music is
Are you here with me?
Well, I'm just like, you're kind of like cutting in with like different stuff. I'm trying to like get to the
All right, go ahead.
So his music's like transcendent is what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Like that basically means people from the past and future are able to join in to the celebration.
I mean, that's what it looked like. You're
like-
seeing people from all different time periods.
Like they just show up. They're there. Like you have a guy playing an electric guitar, guys playing drums from back in the day, but it's not even just like his people. I think there was Chinese people in there too.
Yeah.
So it's like anybody's past and present is jumping in, and then the club appears to burn down.
Yeah, again, that's like, I'm sure this is symbolic of something. I don't know what this means, but it was weird. I'm like, okay, it's starting to amp up now.
Yeah, it's almost like Great Gatsby, like a wild party, but this is just,
Hey,
it's like way wild.
Dude, level 10 party vibes though.
Yeah.
Like this is a great party, but well, I don't want to jump the gun with your review here, but as we know, evil also gets awakened by this.
Yes. So apparently when the club's burning down, it's not really burning down, but what we're watching is burning down. And this attracts Ramek and his two vampire buddies.
I think they should have thrown like the roof is on fire song in this too. You know what I'm saying? Throwing like a little cheer.
I mean, this is where, again, I'm starting to be like, this is interesting.
Are you talking about when Ramek came at this point?
No,
or just
I mean,
when it turned
overall-
like weird. I mean, it got odd.
Yeah, I'm just like, what? I'm not really sure what's going on in this movie.
Same. I'm still at this point. I'm still in.
Yeah, because now, like, even this is pretty deep into the movie, and we haven't really had a good vampire confrontation. Yeah, the vampire went and turned a couple people, but it's not really affecting the main cast at all. So it's like, when are we going to get there? But yes, now the vampires are coming to the club. Right. So they're disguised as musicians who just want to like play and join the party.
Yeah, but see, okay, again, the weird thing the way I get lost, maybe it doesn't matter, but it's like, why was the vampire around in the first place? We don't know, but because they say that the music attracts the vampire, but it seemed like the vampire was like right next door. Like, is that a coincidence?
Yeah.
Why was he there?
And yeah, why is it some random Irish dude?
Anyways, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, the main thing now, the vampire's there, but as with most vampires, you have to be invited in to go into the house. So they can't get into the club because no one's inviting them. So we have a little like standoff here, and basically they call over Smoke. He's very suspicious of them and basically sends them packing because he doesn't trust him.
Well, yeah, and he kind of mentioned it, and it makes sense. It's like if you have white people in the club at this time, like he said, if someone steps on their shoe and you get in a fight or something happens, now, because racial tensions or whatever, you could have a big problem with a bunch of white people coming to get you.
I totally understand that.
Okay.
That makes total sense to me. So I'm on board with that, sending him away.
Now, did you not dude, you missed the best parts though. The thing that everyone liked is the way the vampires were trying to get in.
Why?
Just because they were so like needy, like they wanted to get in so bad, and like even the vampires like, well, I guess we'll just walk away slowly. And they're like really, I mean, they're so manipulative in the whole thing. It's really funny. It's like, and they even try to play their Irish song for him.
You know what? That's a good point. That actually it was funny.
See, you're not aware. On TikTok, this is like huge.
Oh, I don't know.
Everyone's making fun of the vampires.
Because how needy they are?
Yeah.
It was funny because they did kind of sulk away as they play their little songs, you know?
They're like, we'll just be out here hanging out.
Yeah, I forgot this part. Some of these parts actually made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, it was good.
Maybe you didn't dislike the movie that much. We don't know. We'll wait for the review.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. Anyway, well, at this point, I didn't dislike the movie. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm interested still. You know what I mean? So, anyways, now Mary goes and talks to the twins after they send away the Irish folk singers, as they think.
If we didn't say those are vampires too, just so we know.
Yeah, it's a vampire crew. But being that the twins are hard up for cash, Mary basically talks them into letting her go because she's white. Go out and suss them out, see if they're legit or not.
I don't think she told both twins though. Just for clarity, I think she just told Stax.
Doesn't matter.
Because
I do just let it go.
Smoke was smarter, and I don't think he would have told her to go outside. But Stax like, all right, just go ahead.
I can't tell the difference between them. It doesn't matter to me.
But it does matter though, because once she, we'll get there.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it. So anyway, she ends up going out to him, and they play her this nice little folk song. And they seem genuine, right? Like, it's kind of like, okay, maybe they're not so bad. Until Romik's eyes glow red and he starts drooling.
Yeah, that's a dead giveaway.
Dead giveaway. So at that point, Mary's like, I'm out of here, takes off. But Romik then flies through the air and, well, Mary's a vampire now.
Yeah, so they didn't show it. I did think it was cool when she turned around, all of a sudden that vampire is lifting off the ground because it's subtle and then it just cuts away. And it's just like, whoa, what just happened, right? You don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty thing but you don't know.
But
by the way, that's Haley Steinfeld. You probably don't know who that is.
No.
She's famous. I think she's dating the Bills quarterback, Josh Allen, I think.
All right.
Anyways.
Cool. Didn't know.
It's another big thing, the way she's dancing with Michael B. Jordan. It's a big thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's stupid.
Oh. All right, so now they're starting to slowly pick some people off. So at this point, Cornbread, who's the guy watching the door, has to take a piss. So he steps away from the door, starts hearing some voices out in the woods, and, well, he's a vampire as well.
Right.
Again, they don't really show it a lot, but we know he's a vampire.
I do like this, though, because it's like everyone's safe inside, but one by one, people are starting to get taken out, and you're just like, oh, no. It's like they're infiltrating, and no one even knows what's going on yet.
Yeah, I'm not against it yet.
No, it's good.
Yeah. So at the same time, Sammy steps up his game with Perline. Sammy steps up his game with Perline. I think it's Perline. And this is where he goes down on her, even though she warns him that it's like a swamp down there.
And because Stax had already told him about doing this. I'm not sure why this was in the movie, but it was. And that happened.
Yeah, again, I just thought there was a lot of talk about it, and I don't think it was a thing for the time. So whatever, it is what it is.
It was awkward sitting next to you listening to them talk about it.
Still
awkward.
I feel like you're making it weird now. I didn't think it was that weird.
Yeah.
All right. So Mary now, who's a vampire, returns to the club. And of course, because they don't know what's going on yet, she gets invited right in. Like, she works her way through it. Not a big deal at all.
So watching this, I'm like, okay, a vampire got in. We're screwed now.
Right, yeah.
You would
There's one
think.
inside.
And this is kind of like where I start having some issues with this, but go on.
Yeah, so she goes inside and tries. So this is where I did not catch this. So she's with Stack. You said it backwards earlier. You effed me up.
No, she's with Stack.
No, she's with Stack. She's not with Smoke.
Okay, this is hilarious because you're the one who had it backwards. I said she's with Stax. You said she was with Smoke.
I think it could be true.
You just flipped it again.
Okay, all right. So she's with Stack, but apparently she tried to seduce Smoke when she returns in as a vampire. I didn't know the difference between them, so I didn't even notice that. I thought it was the same person.
Yeah, I might have seen it. Honestly, this is the problem with twins in a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So she ends up, so that doesn't work out. So she ends up getting back with Stax, going in the back room, and they start hooking up.
Right.
All right. At the same time, Smoke was dealing with a dude who had like loaded dice, gets called out, and he ended up slashing another dude with a razor blade. So Smoke's trying to deal with that, and basically he needs Stax to kind of come help him. What?
No, I like it because at this point it's like things are amping up where there's like a lot of things happening at once and it's starting to boil over, right?
Yeah.
So it's good at this point. We're starting to feel where we're going.
Yeah, they end up beating that dude and throwing him out. So that's all you need to know about the dude in the dice. But what Smoke does do is go to Stax, the room he's in, breaks through the door opens the door to find Mary on top of him, just like eating him.
Oh yeah, and I thought this was very effective. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Because you thought they were hooking up because you didn't mention, but it's fine. Sammy walked in earlier and saw Mary on top. You know,
I'm pretty sure they were hooking up.
I think they were. And then he just walked away, didn't think anything of it. But then obviously when they went back, she was eating him. And it's like, oh my God, you just weren't expecting it. Very good.
Or I guess drinking blood. She's not really eating. It looked like
eating because there's blood everywhere too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever.
Anyways, but now's where it gets interesting because Mary like pops up and she says they're all going to die, but then leaves.
Okay, so when she said you're all going to die, I'm like, oh, it was creepy. Gave me a little chills.
Oh.
I'm like, that's scary because like now they all finally, no one knew any of this was happening. And now they know vampires are here. So it's like, okay, we're in the thick of it. She's in. What's going to happen? You're right. Then she just ran out and I'm like, why?
Well, then I also have the question, if you leave, do you have to get invited back in? Or are you like have a free pass?
Oh, that's a great question. You should be able to just get right back in.
Yeah.
Because you were already invited. What if the person who invited you dies? Does that invitation then get cut off?
Well, let's just jump ahead. Stack's going to turn into a vampire. He's going to leave. He never was invited in. Oh, he can't come back in though.
Yes, that is correct. And so also we need to point out, they knew, again, these are vampires now, and
Well, they don't know yet.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. All right.
Okay, well, we'll get to it. Anyways, I was more... The in and out things got me confused.
They locked Stax in the room, and I think they didn't know they're vampires because people were outside.
No, I'll get to it.
Okay.
So let me just... Since you're going off on your own little path here.
What I do.
Let's bring you back in. So Smoke clears out the club, tells everyone to leave, and we get left with our core like group here.
So again, though, when that happened, weren't you like, oh no,
they're all vampires?
Yeah, you just killed everyone.
Sent the sheep out to the what is it, wolf?
Yeah,
wolf's
out there, wolf eating.
All right, so we have now the people that are left are Smoke, Sammy, Annie, who's Smoke's girl, Slim, Perline, Grace, and then Vampire Stack. And Stack's locked behind a door.
Right.
Okay. All right. So Cornbread now returns the club to get an invite in.
And Cornbread, I did like that character. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Funny. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Cornbread. Big dude. Good actor. I like him.
Yeah.
But he's like trying his hardest to get in, and they're not buying it at all.
Well, my favorite part is what's going to happen. It's just like he won't. These vampires are so manipulative, and they won't give up. And then my favorite part is just when he sticks his hand out, and he's just like, "Here, give me my money," and he just sticks his hand out, just like just doing that little wagging of the fingers, like because he knows he's setting him up, but he's just acting innocent, like, "Please, come on."
Yeah.
You've been in and out of here all day. Ain't never need an invite then. Can I at least get my money?
So at this point, Annie is the first one to really catch on to all this because she does the hoodoo stuff, and she's like very keen on this stuff and knows something's off. So even though Cornbread offers money to Smoke, what like you're describing, well, no, I shouldn't say even though. That's what happens. Cornbread offers money to Smoke. They won't let him in. But
Cornbread offers money to Smoke?
Yeah.
No. Cornbread wanted money from Smoke for watching the door.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
You got it all reversed.
Sorry, yeah, I forgot that part. Anyways,
that's why there's two of us.
Either way, their hands connect. Cornbread rips Smoke out of the building, goes to bite him, but Smoke catches him quick with a shot to the head.
I will say I did like the gunplay in this movie. Great.
I wish there was more of it. That's
Dude,
all I'm going to say.
Because he did a quick like shot over the head. It looked cool. It was like almost John Wick-esque.
Yeah, Smoke and Stack know what they're doing. And I would have loved to see them with some silver bullets just going to town.
100% way better of a horror movie for me. Absolutely.
Like actual battling the vampires. There's really not a lot of battling, but anyway, Smoke's able to like escape and get back to the club. He's fine, but you know, Cornbread's got a hole in his head, but he's a vampire. Don't worry about him. He's fine.
And we got to say when, maybe we said it, but when what's the other girl's name who turned into vampire? Mary?
Yeah.
When she got, Smoke did shoot her in the head and they were thinking like there's something obviously going on. We shot her and she didn't die. She also said you're all going to die. So that's also a red flag.
There was a turn in her personality.
Yeah, something had changed.
All right. So at this point, though, this is where they know they're vampires. Annie like tells everyone. She knows what's going on. They're vampires, right?
Right.
Now's where Stack comes back to life, breaks down the door he's locked in. Annie, knowing they're vampires, splashes him with some pickled garlic, which sends him running out of the club.
Correct.
And because even though he was in the club, but he got hit with garlic and left, he now has to be invited in.
Can I say this real quick? I got to say, with these vampires, I liked the way they made them because they're like versions. They're just like themselves, just a little bit evil. You know, like you wouldn't know they're a vampire because they seem like themselves. It's just like their mindset has changed now.
Not even like that unlikable.
No. And even I'm not going to give it away, but even as the end, I'm like, how much of the real person is still in this body? Like, because it kind of seems like they are themselves, but just a bad version.
Well, something we learn is that when they become vampires, they have a collective mind. Like they know everything about each other.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's all blended into one, which will come into a point here in a minute.
Yeah.
But
So my whole point is I just do like the way they made the vampires. I like how manipulative the vampires were. I like the look of the vampires.
All right. So now at this point, obviously the people in the club are freaked out a little, but there's now a large crowd of vampires led by Remick that are all hanging out on the outside.
Okay.
Here's where we get the Irish dance.
Yes. Are we going into it?
I mean, I don't know. It's like it's river dance, right?
Well, and it's like, yeah. Again, this is where I'm like confused because I'm like, if I didn't know that this movie got good reviews, would I actually think this was cool, or am I just feeding into the already growing narrative of this movie? Because I'm like, what was this? Why are they doing Irish dancing? I'm not gonna get it through this whole power and music, and this is the Irish, their power. I don't know, whatever. But it was funny.
This is where I was kind of like, is this a musical? Like, is this a horror movie or a musical? Because it felt honestly a little bit more like a musical. Am I wrong?
No. One could argue this is more of a musical than a horror movie. Absolutely.
This is way more about music and stuff than it is about vampires and horror, like any horror.
I will say, though, there's something kind of weird and creepy if you saw a bunch of vampires dancing outside of the door. That is weird. I'd be like, oh my God, these guys are crazy.
Well, not just dancing. They're doing the Irish, like, river dance stuff.
I mean, and like the choreography was on point too.
Dude, Remick was just tearing shit up. This dude, his little legs were, and he's like really like going ham on it,
It was enjoyable to watch. I mean, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
I got to throw back. Also, during that scene, the weird scene where Sammy, the transcendent music, they had like a girl twerking. And that kind of threw me off too.
Okay, you're right. They had like more hip hop stuff. I guess it's really mainly that scene. I'm like, okay, dude. That's not necessarily transcendent, right?
I mean, we
all enjoy it. Come on, let's be real.
Hey.
Like, hey, I've seen some TikTok videos.
Well,
don't watch too long, or else they'll keep feeding it to you, and then you got a problem.
I've been involved in some dances where maybe that was occurring, and I was not.
He used to twerk on everyone. No, but you're right. That did kind of throw me out. I was like, wait, hold on, this?
Yeah, like out of all the dancing cultural stuff,
you know what
like,
though?
Twerking,
it is all over the place. It is popular.
Yeah, but does that mean it's good?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. Depending what kind of mood you're in.
Okay, so anyways,
The eye of the beholder.
so now we have the vampires Irish dancing, and it's a like again, if it was a musical, great scene.
Inside horrified, outside. Actually, the party just moved outside. Really.
Yeah. That's where it's really going down. So, anyways, they do their little dance. It is what it is.
It was bizarre.
It was bizarre.
I don't know what else to say about it, guys.
So, Romick ends up returning to the club and explains so this part I was kind of confused on. Did he go back to the club and explain to them how they were set up?
Yeah. So Romick's the vampire, right?
Yeah.
The head. We'll call him the head white vampire. He did, because again, these vampires are trying to manipulate everyone. So they're trying to tell them like, hey, you were never really free. Because that was the whole idea, right? The twins went out to Chicago. They got a bunch of money. They're going to buy their own club. Now they're free, and they're kind of trying to help the black community, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to explain to them that you were never free, because what was going to happen is the KKK was going to come the next day and kill you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So they know this because they killed those members that are vampires. They were the cousins of that. Apparently, that guy's a grand dragon of the KKK, that Hogwood. So, yeah. So, anyways, that dude, they were going to come back and get him. We already talked about it. All right, let's move on. So, basically, now they're trying to, like, manipulate the people in the club to become vampires.
Yeah, they're trying to talk them into it like, hey, it's better on our side. Like, you know, the same typical vampire stuff. We don't feel pain, live forever.
Yeah.
You're free.
And also something to note, Remick isn't like on the, just because he's white, he's not on the KKK views. He doesn't care about that. He actually just wants Sammy because Sammy has that ability to conjure spirits. And apparently he wants to get like Sammy on his crew so that they can conjure spirits from the past.
Well, and I don't know. It seemed, my thought of it is like when Sammy sings, it rip opens that fabric and then like, it can attract more evil and whatever that means. It's like, I was thinking maybe more of his friends he was going to see, more vampires could come through. I don't know how that works.
So it's like music can be used for good or evil type shit.
I guess.
So anyways, they turn down the offer to become vampires. Like he tries to like frame it up. They'll live forever, escape racial persecution. Life will be better. They don't do it.
But the thing is though, he's not lying to him. We find out, but
he's not.
Which, because when I was listening to this, I'm like, oh, okay, he's just making stuff up, but he's not. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Because it would kind of be, you could kind of see the appeal of like, if you were black at the time, they're, especially for their situation, they really weren't ever free. They're always going to be chased, you know? So it would be like, hey, maybe I will jump to the other side. My brother's already there. Would you go to the other side for me?
You kind of hit me with a lot of stuff right there. Bro, you'd have a stake through your heart before you could even like blink, dude.
I don't think he's lying either. I think he would stake.
Hey guys, it's for the greater good, you know?
Well, now you're talking like a vampire. Which side are you on?
Yeah, maybe I would become a vampire.
I feel like you'd fit in very well.
I would get you so quick out of there. I could manipulate you.
Oh, dude. No kidding.
All right. Oh, someone's at the door. Anyway, so they turn it down, but when they refuse the offer, Romick kind of turns it up a notch, and he targets Grace, who's the Chinese woman. And what he says is basically they're going to go because I should mention, her husband is now a vampire as well.
Well, and that Grace was the reason why. She was really on him to go outside. So she kind of caused him to go get killed because he didn't want to. So that does play a role in what happens.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Grace may be I shouldn't say least favorite character, but she's an idiot. She
is an idiot. But I will tell, I can look through it through her point of view and how they built the story of like why she did what she did.
So at this point, they say they're going to go after Grace and Beau's daughter. So now Grace is like, that's on her mind.
Yeah, well, again, and it is pretty powerful to be like, hey, yeah, because here, let me just say this. Grace's daughter is at home, so she's safe for the time being, but they're saying, hey, if you don't come out, I'm going to go kill your daughter, so go ahead and make that decision.
So now we have a standoff between the vampires outside and what's left of this whole club scene, and now is where I got the Dusk Till Dawn vibes.
Yeah, because again, we'll just build it. Vampires outside, people are stuck inside, and there's nowhere to go. But you're safe, you know, as long as no one leaves or no one lets anyone in. Can I say this too? By the way, we didn't really talk about it that much. The barn that they're in a barn this whole time, the Juke scene, right? Mm-hmm. It's like a big empty barn, right? They have like lights and stuff to make it look nice, but I did like the vibe of it, like the wood. I feel like I almost hear it creaking, you know, when they're walking around, and it's like that old wooden feel.
Yeah, it's super cool. But apparently, I don't know if I brought this up, but it was like a slaughterhouse. And I think in the like history of it, like they killed a bunch of like people there.
Oh, because in the beginning, the twins were looking at the ground. They're like, "What's up with the ground here?" Because maybe they saw blood stains or something. That does make sense. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I think I read it. It might have been the after stuff, the deeper meaning stuff.
Right. So we're a good ways through this movie now, and now it's starting to kick off.
Well, so I thought, because at this point, like it's so much buildup. But dude, I told you, I looked at my clock and I'm like, dude, there ain't time to get a lot more done here.
No, and honestly, a lot of the movie was just vampires trying to convince everyone to let them in, which I guess is why it's so big on TikTok. That was like a lot of the movie. There's a lot of convincing.
Yeah, and those scenes were good. They weren't like bad scenes, but like, okay, I'm here for a horror movie. I've got a musical. Like, and so I'm having some internal thoughts that are going like a little like, what the F is going on?
How I felt is like the scene was set for a great battle and a great horror movie. Like, I love the environment. I love everything they were doing. Just doesn't necessarily happen the way I want it to.
Well, I mean, legit, it is like Dusk Till Dawn, where they're trying to survive till dawn. Dusk Till Dawn? Yeah, that's what it is.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, they're trying to survive these vampires, and it's like they have the building inside. There's a couple people that maybe can get in. Like Mary might be able to come back in. So there's like, okay, we're going to have like a good little showdown here. Well, let's just get to what happened. So they end up gathering stakes, guns, garlic. So again, we're building up in a good way, right? Like they're getting all their weaponry. And I don't think there was silver bullets. I think it's just bullets.
If there was something silver, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So again, like my thoughts are like, okay, either we're going to wait out, we're going to have the wait off situation, or maybe they'll start trying to attack these guys on the outside, some type of battle going on with these vampires. But Grace had other ideas.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll go ahead and tell what she does, and then I'll explain. I think it makes sense why she did it.
Well, if you want to F over everybody else inside the building.
No, it was a horrible move.
Okay,
don't get me
so
wrong.
Grace, with the thought still on her mind that they're going after her daughter, she just decided at this point she's going to invite them all in.
Well, you see, I think Grace wanted to fight him. Like, she wanted to go out and take the fight to him, because you do think she is on a time crunch, because they will kill her daughter. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, guess what? Why don't you not give away the one safe place you have? You can go outside and fight. You do not have to invite them in.
She could have herself.
Yeah, or maybe made a plan with the other ones. Like, hey, let's do some type of strategy here.
That you know what? I can't argue for Grace on that one. Her move was terrible. I'm just saying, I could see from her point of view where you've had enough. You're like anxious. Your daughter could be getting killed right now. You got to make something happen. Your husband's already dead because of you. I think she just lost her mind.
Well, she just sacrificed everybody.
It was an all-time bad move.
Yeah.
All-time bad move.
Yeah. So at this point now, the vampires come flooding in.
Well, I don't think you said it, did you? Grace said, like, come in. She invited them all in.
Yeah, I said she invited them in. Whatever she said, who cares? Because it was enough to let them in.
Dude, as soon as she said that, I'm like, wait. Honestly, I was shocked. I'm like, dude, this just happened? She just invited, like, that's how they're getting in?
Because there's so many vampires, it's like, there's no way this is going to be a good fight.
Well, yeah, because I'm down with the methodical. Okay, so that was me playing devil's advocate. Do I support Grace? Absolutely not. I'm just telling you, I saw her mindset there. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'm totally down for like a methodical way they're going to get these vampires. But now it's a rush. And yeah, I'm like you. It's like, dude, there's a ton of vampires. Very few of them. They don't really have an arsenal. This is going to be like a quick, easy, like bloodbath, like done.
Yeah. And it was.
Kind of.
So, okay, this is where, again, things are weird. So the vampires flood in, like Perline gets taken out like quick. Like people are start like dropping off, right? Like they're getting murdered. I'm not even gonna go through them all because I'll just tell you who's left at the end.
By the way they came through like these big barn doors, so they're coming through this big opening.
Yeah.
So
and we have a situation where they take basically everyone out except for who's left. Smoke, Sammy, and then Slim are kind of left. But the vampires actually start leaving. Like they're leaving the building. For some reason, Slim decides to cut his wrist to bleed to attract them back to them.
So again, I don't know. I feel like I didn't hammer this enough. I don't understand why when vampires got inside, this happened with, with Mary and it happened with Stax. Why are they leaving? Well, Stax got hit with fluid. That makes sense. I still don't understand why Mary left. And you're right. Instead of just killing everyone and turning, because that seems to be their goal, is to turn everyone. Especially Sammy. Sammy, the singer?
Yeah.
I don't understand why they seem to, again, that was my whole point, my issue with the vampire fight. I feel like they should have just been able to take everyone out. There didn't seem to be a reason why they shouldn't have been able to.
Well, I don't know why they were leaving.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. So Slim invites them again, and his move is even crazier. Like they're starting to leave, so he invites them all back. Like no one here in the building is like, hey, let's wait for the sun. That seemed to not be a thing.
Well, once they got in, you're screwed. You gotta make something happen. And I think Slim was like, he cut his wrist and just let him bleed. I think he's just trying to attract them all to him, so they're not going after Smoke and Sammy.
Okay, sure, but they were leaving.
I can't speak on that.
Okay, whatever. At this point, Smoke and Stack start fighting. So the twins, one's a vampire, one's not. They're fighting, all right? And it kind of leaves off where Smoke's about to kill Stack.
Well, Sammy went out the window, right? Sammy's out.
We'll get to him.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that he's not with him. So Sammy went out the window and Smoke and Stack are fighting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it leaves, that scene kind of ends where Smoke's about to kill Stack, but he doesn't show it. We don't know what happens.
Who knows?
Yeah, well, you'll find out. But so Sammy ends up going outside into like a pond and has like a final standoff with Remick, the main vampire. And he hits him over the head with his guitar, which happens to have like a silver disc in it, which sticks in his head. And it's doing some major damage to him.
Yeah, and I was kind of confused. It did seem, right, like when that happened, all the other vampires also were...
Well, it's after then Smoke came up behind him and then stabbed a stake in his back, which really finished Remick off. Now, this is where it got weird because it seemed like all the other vampires were now like dying from it. Because that's the thing in vampires. It's like you kill the main one who turned them. The rest, revert. Yes,
but just so happened at the same time the sun was coming up.
So there's a little bit of confusion there.
I think by design.
Yeah. Which I don't hate that part, but whatever.
But so that the vampires are gone now. We're good.
Yeah,
Sammy survived.
Vampires are done.
Sammy and Smoke, sorry.
Yeah, we're getting near the end of this movie. So now Smoke and Sammy, they leave. Apparently they knew the clan was coming still. I didn't catch that in the movie, but apparently they realized the clan's plan was to catch them there.
Okay.
At some point, but the clan came during the day, so I don't know. I guess they're
in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, they knew the clan was on the way, so they leave. Sammy ends up splitting off from Smoke. He goes back to the church with his father, which goes to the very opening scene of the movie. Smoke does something completely different. Smoke has an arsenal of weapons. He goes back to the Juke and just murders all the Clansmen, kills them all. Ends up at the end, it's him and that Hogwood, or the last one's alive. And he's sitting there talking to Annie, who's his girl or baby mama, and the baby, his dead baby, which is alive. Like it's talking to ghosts, Yeah.
It's like the way you word all this.
Yeah. So he ends up blowing away Hogwood and dying.
Yeah. The idea is, it's a very poetic, right? It's like he's back with his family now.
I got to be honest.
He got to see his child.
This scene, as much as I love the killing the Klansmen, the racist guys, that's always usually good in a movie, like Django or something. I'm into it. This didn't have enough build up for me.
Yes. So I did like the scene. I enjoyed watching that, but also I'm like, wait, the vampires are already gone? I'm like, that was during that whole scene. I'm like, wait, that was really how it ended with the vampires, So I was just a little and I'm like, how'd we even get here?
Yeah, it was because the Klansmen stuff wasn't that big of a storyline in the movie. It was always kind of there, but they never really did anything. It's not like we met the one dude who said the clan wasn't even around. It's not like we saw them being persecuted and stuff. You didn't really see any of that, so it didn't really build up to where I was like, oh man, he's going to take these guys out.
Right.
So it was kind of oh, interesting.
I mean, honestly, when I watched, I kind of guess I just took it, maybe after some reflection. I'm like, it was just a nice little cherry on top. Okay, let's just watch a fun little scene. But yeah, and it was good to see Smoke survive. Or well, he didn't survive. He's back with his family now in a greater place.
Yes. All right. So then Sammy ends up going, talks to his father. His father tries to plead to give up music, but Sammy refuses. He leaves town. He ends up living out the rest of his life as a successful musician arriving at old age.
So did we mention that the guitar was from Smoke and Stack's dad? This is kind of a big part. I think we kind of might have missed this whole thing. Did you know that? Yeah, you knew that, right?
Vaguely.
Because initially they said the guitar, when Smoke and Stack's, the twins, when they gave Sammy the guitar, they said it was from some famous singer. Then one of them revealed, oh no, that was a lie. I think Smoke told him, like, yeah, my brother was lying. That's actually from our dad, who I think their dad was evil. I don't really know how that.
Yeah, he beat them or something.
Yeah, there's something up with that. So the idea though is that I thought there must be something evil about the guitar too, right? That helped Sammy play good music, because we didn't have if we had the rip in the fabric of the universe, we would have seen this movie earlier on, right? Because he's been singing for a while.
Ripping the fabric of the universe.
Like the whole thing when he played the music and he sang, then all of a sudden the evil's attracted to him, right? That happened at the club.
Yeah, but the vampires were coming before he did that.
What I'm saying, were they though? Or was it? I don't know. I thought it was because he had the guitar and he was playing with that guitar and he's such a good singer. That combination made it happen. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure he played the guitar a lot.
Because I thought they told him to get rid of the guitar. Like, hey, like, get rid of this and, like, let's be done with this.
Who?
I thought Smoke had said. Maybe I'm wrong. And the dad obviously wanted him to give it up and he wouldn't.
I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
That's going on some supernatural stuff right there. So anyways.
Well, but because... Oh, here, well, we'll get to the end and then we'll...
One night after Sammy finishes a performance, Stack and Mary end up walking into the club. Now, if you don't remember, that's the vampires.
Yeah.
They walk into the club, but they're actually very nice. They want to talk to him and just chill.
Yeah. So initially, what we knew is obviously we never saw Stacks get killed. So get killed. So it made sense that he was a vampire, and we never saw Mary get killed either. Because it was like chaos. You didn't know where everyone went.
Right.
So, yeah, so go ahead.
So what we learned is Stack tells, I want to say Benny. What's his name? Sammy, that Smoke couldn't actually kill him, but what he did is ordered him to stay away from Sammy.
Which is interesting because it's like, oh, there is some good in these vampires? Because he's like good enough that he actually listened to his brother and kept his word?
He was trying to kill his brother.
Well, but again, it did seem like these vampires, it wasn't like, I want to kill you to kill you. They weren't killing you. In fact, they were just bringing you onto their team. Okay. Like, because even when Smoke's girl died, they were mad because they're like, dude, why did you just kill? Because we didn't say that Smoke killed his own girlfriend or mother of his child.
Mm-hmm.
They were like mad at him for doing that. They're like, dude, you just ruined it. You know what I'm saying? Because he drove a stake through her so she wouldn't turn.
Okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So it is interesting. Like, they're not that bad. I don't know.
Debatable. We'll say debatable. Anyway, so Sammy ends up playing one last song for Stack and Mary. They talk about how that was the greatest night of their life until it wasn't, until the vampires showed up. And then Stack and Mary leave. The end. Yeah,
because even Stack's like, yeah, that night was great. It's like you see some humanity in them still. And it's like confusing on how bad they really are. And then I'm also like, maybe I'm wrong. I thought a lot of this happened because of him. Because they built this whole thing up about music and how it, attracts evil. Why is he still singing? Has he just been attracting evil this whole time?
He seemed to be living a perfectly fine life.
Yeah. And then I'm also like, what has Stack's been up to? Is this going to be like another movie?
A spinoff?
I mean, you could. Like, what have you been up to the whole time? And it was funny seeing him in like 80s clothes.
Yeah.
Like actually, a jumpsuit and stuff.
He was wearing like a chain and stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Well, let's get to it. You want to go first?
No, go ahead. All right. This is our final, our rating. We're giving our rating of the movie.
Dude, there's a lot to this movie, especially when you break it down. There's a lot going on in this.
And a lot of this stuff I learned after watching the movie.
Yeah, that my issue with it is like there's like too much. It's like I can't handle this much input when I'm watching a movie. I like very simple. It's just who I am. Simple Darren.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like the atmosphere was awesome. I loved the music and the scenery. Again, the theatrics of the whole thing. I felt like I was at this location. I liked the way they did the vampires. The story was good. It was just, to me, it really comes down to this. I like horror movies. This wasn't really that much of a horror movie. It wasn't enough vampires, and I wanted more vampire fights going on. It just was a lot of negotiating for me. But overall, I'll just give my score. I think it was like a 7.3.
Okay.
Like, it was good. I don't really want to rewatch it. Again, it was like too dramatic at times. I wanted to see, like you said, I wanted to see Smoke and Stax go at these vampires because they had an arsenal in their little carriage or whatever the heck. I wanted to see that get opened up. I wanted to see like some vampire fighting. Let me say this. Again, we're looking at it through a horror perspective. Were you ever scared in this movie?
No.
There was like unsettling parts, but I wasn't like really scared. I didn't really totally feel horrorish to me. So yeah, 7.3 or whatever I said. I don't know.
Okay. Dude, you're so bad. I have to say, you take my points and I feel like you reword them as your own because there's multiple things you talked about that I'm like, we talked about this already.
Well, this is the problem. That's why we can't talk about movies before we do it.
Yeah, because I'm like, you're supposed to be on the flip. I thought you were more like positive on the movie.
I thought a 7.3 is positive. I think it's a good movie. I'm not looking for like a great movie. I just like want an enjoyable movie. And to me, it was like a little too slow.
I feel like I swayed your opinion.
No, because when I left the theater, I wasn't like, oh, this is the best movie. My honest opinion, as soon as I left the movie, I was like, dude, we laughed. I'm like, dude, this is not as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, true.
I was, but I'm not like on your level. It wasn't a good horror movie. Like, it wasn't that good of a horror movie for me.
Okay. All right. So I had similar things. I loved the setting of it. I liked them in the Mississippi there. I liked the characters were all really interesting. I thought they were really good actors. Music was really good. Very good, honestly. I even liked the start of the vampires when they kind of came around and like he starts turning people, even, up to the club. It was still interesting to me, but there were some things I didn't like.
Go ahead.
It was a very slow movie to get to the vampires, like to even get to where the real confrontation was. And like I said, in the whole movie, the vampires are a very small slice. And I'm the same as, that's my point. This wasn't a horror movie to me. Like it was so small of a section. I feel like it was like a musical, like the dancing, the singing.
It was a dark music horror movie.
Yeah,
which also maybe a little sexual.
Which I could see like why people like it. It's not a bad movie itself. It's a good movie.
It's a very good movie.
But it's not what I was looking for. Like I wanted a horror movie. I wanted vampires, and I just watched Nosferatu, and that was a really good vampire movie.
We should watch that, by the way.
Yeah, we can totally do it. I was expecting some good vampires, like actually be like scary, like some battling going on. I didn't get any of that.
Bro, the gunplay was so good with Smokes and Stacks, whichever one was shooting the gun. It looked so great. I would have loved to see more of that, like with some silver bullets, Like have a real fight with the vampires. There wasn't really any of that. I mean, they did have a little fight where some vampires got taken out, but it was chaos. I don't even know what happened.
I mean, this is probably corny that people would be like, oh, that sounds stupid. But I would love to see some KKK guys turn into the vampires and then let's destroy them,
The problem is they would be part of the unity then, and then they're not. Then they're all about love and togetherness. I'm telling you, the way they did the vampires, though, I did like it. I thought it was an interesting idea. And I thought the way they played them was interesting. Getting the manipulation that they tried, I thought it was interesting.
Okay. Well, anyways, Michael B. Jordan playing both roles. I didn't love that either. I thought it just like threw my eye off when I watched those scenes, and really confusing to follow which twin was which twin. Like it wasn't until, as you can tell, even in the review, I got confused on which one's which. So the supernatural touch to the movie got weird. That whole twerking in the club was weird. The Irish dancing was kind of weird. I don't really get it, like why it went like to that route, but all right. We already talked about it. Not really a whole lot of scary movies. Vampires, once they got in, it was over. And having that Grace just invite him in too was like, okay, well, this isn't even going to be like a battle.
It did seem like a stupid way to get him in. Like it's just like too easy, but I understand where they're going.
Yeah. And then vampires coming in and leaving, like we talked about already. That was kind of weird. Like, I get it. There's a lot of deeper meanings to this. It's a lot about race and culture and music and culture. And again, that's a great movie, but it's not a great horror movie for me. And like, I wanted a horror movie. I wanted to be scared. I wanted these vampires to be like a Dusk Till Dawn situation or something where they're trying to survive them, but it didn't go that route at all. So it kind of left me feeling like, I'm not sure what I just watched there, but like, just to hit it one more time, there's so much like symbolism and subtext to everything. It's like, which I like in a movie, that it makes you think, but I feel like it's like almost too much to where it's like a real deep movie, which doesn't really fit with like a horror. And it's more of like my
personal taste, honestly.
Yeah. It's like what I was looking for in the movie isn't quite what it was. And that's why I didn't like it. Because it's if I went in with a different mindset, maybe if I knew what it was about, I would probably have a different opinion on it. But I was thinking I'm watching a vampire horror movie, and it's just not what I got.
I knew once the Irish dancing happened, I was like, dude, this guy's got to be wondering what the heck, because you had no idea.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of these like TikToks and everything else, or like what this movie was really about. And I get why people are, especially if you're into music and stuff and blues and the whole cultural ties in and everything. I understand why people like it. But man, as far as a vampire horror movie, nah, it ain't it. 4.2.
Oh my God. Dude, 4.2 on it?
Dude, originally when I left the theater, I'm like 2.1.
Dude, but he was so, I mean, we wanted to record right after because when you're raw fillings, that's kind of the best. I like it. Because actually, honestly, since I've watched it more, I kind of, even going over it, I kind of have a little more appreciation because I do think like it was very eerie having those vampires outside. It's just like, that was kind of like the whole movie.
It wasn't really eerie because they kind of made them funny. Like they were kind of funny to like watch, like the way they acted. Like they weren't really scary.
No, I mean, again, they weren't trying to even kill you. They're just trying to make you join the team. Yeah, whatever. We've gone over it. Dude, we've been going like an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah. This is going deep. All right.
Dude, I can't believe your score. That's wild. Let him hear it. Which side you on? I mean, I'm not even 100%. Here's what. Okay, let me go back to it.
Again, let me just say this because I'm gonna take a beating in the comments. I understand it. It's a good movie, but it is a horror. Like I'm into horror movies. It wasn't a fit for me in the horror like realm. Like that's how I grade it.
What you look for out of a horror movie, or what you like?
Yeah,
your taste.
Is this a bad movie? No, it's not a bad movie. But if you're looking for a vampire horror movie, yeah, it is a bad movie.
Dude, you're totally right though. If like I'm recommending horror movies, I'm like, this isn't like a go-to recommendation for a horror movie.
I would 100% recommend Dusk Till Dawn over this movie.
I mean, yeah, but I'll also say, someone said it once on one of our shorts, like, you guys like horrible movies. I'm like, yeah, I do.
That's true.
I do like bad movies. So that is, I completely agree. I mean, Selma Hayek in that. I mean, good Lord. God. Good Lord, guys.
Oh my.
That's a 9.9 on its own.
Yeah.
Maybe a 10. I don't know.
You might as well. She's a 10 in that movie.
Oh, for sure.
All right.
Let's see any Selma Hayeks in
Let's go into a deep dive. All right. So this is the deeper meaning, and we're going to run through this. So number one, vampires are symbols of cultural appropriation and assimilation. So in Sinners, vampires are not just supernatural antagonists. They represent the insidious nature of cultural appropriation and forced assimilation. The characteristic and Irish immigrant vampire seeks to exploit the Black community's musical talents, particularly those of Sammy, to summon spirits and gain power. This allegedly highlights how dominant cultures have historically commodified Black art and spirituality for their own gain, stripping it of its original context and significance. So again, this is what I'm saying, like this being that deep in a horror movie, not what I'm personally looking for, but I get it.
Yeah. No, it's like, yeah, I guess that does make sense. Yeah.
So again, that's what I'm saying. This is deep in subtext, this movie. Duality and the struggle between tradition and modernity. The twin brothers Smoking Stack, portrayed by Michael B. Jordan, embodied the tension between embracing one's cultural heritage and the allure of modernity. Smoke represents a connection to the ancestral roots and traditions, while Stack is drawn to the promise of progression and assimilation. Their divergent paths underscore the broader struggle within the Black community to balance respect for cultural legacies with the pursuit of new opportunities in changing society. That's deep. And that actually makes kind of sense now, looking back at the movie.
Again, if you're looking for like a deep, meaningful movie, sure. I'm not like trying to look deep into this stuff though. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I'm like, oh, that does make sense.
I thought
I just wanted to see some vampires.
I thought I was watching a fun vampire horror movie.
We just got a lesson in education, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's like good. This is a good movie. I understand why people like it, not as a horror movie, but whatever. Music is a conduit for spiritual and cultural expression. Music, particularly the blues, serves as a powerful force in Sinners, acting as a bridge between physical and spiritual realms. Sammy's performances have the ability to summon spirits, emphasizing the deep spiritual connections inherent in Black musical traditions. This portrayal reinforces the idea that music is not merely entertainment, but a vital expression of identity, history, and resistance.
Sure.
Ooh. All right, last one. Confronting historical racism through supernatural horror. Set in the 1930s Mississippi, Sinners uses the horror genre to confront the brutal realities of racism and white supremacy. The presence of the KKK and systematic oppression faced by the Black characters are not just historical backdrops, but integral elements of the narrative. By intertwining supernatural horror with real-world atrocities, the film forces viewers to grapple with the enduring legacy of racial violence in America.
I mean, I didn't feel like I was grappling with it. I didn't even know that was going on.
Well, I mean,
the Ku Klux Klan, here's the thing. I do like that vibe of bringing them in, but they weren't really involved in this other than just the end.
They actually didn't, other than like, that there was obviously like at this time racism and all that stuff was going on big time, but they didn't like highlight that a ton.
I mean, yeah, I'm all down for like you said, a Ku Klux KKK guy getting turned and then having him as a vampire. That's like a big bad guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or like we see some of the stuff going. There actually wasn't hardly any white people in the movie, like the bad white people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you rarely saw them.
Well, other than the vampire, the head vampire.
Yeah, but he wasn't even like the KKK people. You didn't see him other than they met the dude, but he wasn't even acting like he was a KKK guy.
You didn't really know that till the end. I mean, you got vibes in the beginning. Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, so It wasn't like that was... I mean, I would have loved to actually lean more on the nose with this and make you really like hate these people and then turn them to vampires or something with that, you know?
That would have been interesting, but it would have kind of gone away from what the movie was. So I don't know.
Anyways, that's our review of Sinners. What do you think?
Let us have it. Dude, you know, this movie is funny.
I don't care what you say, by the way. I'm right. Nobody goes in. I mean, obviously, after what we just read, this is a deep movie about, culture and like
racism,
Black oppression and everything that's happened in the past. I get it. That's not what I was looking for in a movie. Not what I was looking for. A good horror vampire movie. So, dude, that's where I'm coming from.
Do you think that's why it's a 99?
Oh, I think it plays in because it is so deep and like it's almost like I call it like artsy type movies where there's like a deep subtext, and I mean it is a really good movie, like for that. Dude, and I know critics love that stuff.
Dude, honestly, that's why I'm like, how did this thing? I like the movie ish. I mean, as a just a general movie, I get it. I don't think this thing's at 99. Like, my God.
Well, like we said, I have no urge to watch this movie again. I don't think it was like that fun. Like, I didn't really enjoy it. It was really long. It was super long, and it's a very, very slow build up. So,
by the way, if you think it's a 99, guess what? That's totally fine. We all have our opinions.
Yeah, and I get, like, I can almost see, like, the people this would, like, be like, oh, this movie's great. That's not me, though.
All right, we've nailed it home. Let them have it, guys.
All right.
At least the dogs.
Hey, I'll see you guys in the comments.
Battling it out. Block.
Yeah. Special thanks to all our members. Thank you guys out for the help and the support. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and thanks for just listening, guys. And hey, if you want bonus podcasts, become a member.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you later.
See ya.